Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Done Dissertation Office Hours. I'm your host, Dr. Ramon Goings, founder of Done Dissertation, where we demystify the dissertation process so that you, the doctoral student, can write and defend your dissertation in 1 year or less. Today's topic, we're going to talk about how, as a dissertation writer, you can take advantage of the semester break. So I know for a lot of folks right now, either semester just ended, probably graduations were over the last couple of weeks. You see some of your friends probably in your cohort graduated, and you're wondering like how can you be next. And so I think right now, usually between like May and July, even June and July, are like great months to really take advantage of when things are a little slower. So things are not as going as quickly in higher education. For some of you all who might be in programs that go year round, you might be taking a class or two, but usually in the summers it's a little bit lighter than what you would have during the normal academic year. So I think this is a great time for writers to take advantage of the break. And I want to talk about some strategies in order to do so. So what I'd like you all to do first, if you're watching this, is that if you can share this with somebody who can get some insight and some clarity on their process and their journey, make sure you send this to them so that we can pass this around and get folks, really moving forward in their process. And shout out to, I got Taylor Chick on Instagram. Thank you for tuning in. And if you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you are, drop me a note so that we know exactly where you're coming from. Let me know, where you're going, your year, whatever it is that you're in your process. Let me know in the comments so that we can get you some specific feedback. And then I'm hoping to, at the end of this, to do a Q&A with you all. So if there are any questions that you have about your process specifically, we can definitely talk about that and give you insight. And for those, I see some new folks that are on. My name is Dr. Ramon Goings. I'm a college professor and founder of Done Dissertation. And my mission is to really support doctoral students to get through this process. There is no need to be spending thousands of dollars in tuition with no degree to show for it. So I want to show you the fastest, quickest way to get from beginning to end in the dissertation process. So I want to say thank you all for tuning in. So let's get into it, because I want to talk about how you as a dissertation writer can take advantage of the semester break. And this is not only for dissertation writers, this is also for my folks that are taking classes right now. Again, this is a really downtime. So what I want you all to do first, right, is you got to get specific with your intentions. So the first thing I want you all to do and how you can take advantage of this break is to first map out, what does the next 2 months look like? So what does June and July and even into August look like before the fall semester starts? For some of you all, you might be working on your dissertation proposal. Some of you all might be working on, data collection, data analysis. Some of you might be writing up your discussion. Wherever you are, you got to figure out first is like, what's your intention for this 1 to 2 month time period? That is first things first. So if you're like on this right now, live or watching us on the replay, just jot down, what are your intentions? And what I want you to do is be specific. So not just say, oh, I'm going to finish my dissertation proposal, but what does that look like? Is that chapters 1 and 2? There's certain sections you're going to have to do. Is that you actually finishing your writing, or is that for you finishing your writing and getting it approved? Those are very different things. So that's something you got to consider with this process. And shout out to, we got Vincent is on, SMU ed student, 2nd year. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Actually should be writing the chapter there as we speak. So I'm hoping that this gives you some motivation, Vincent, to get back into the writing so that you can get this thing done. But thank you for joining us this evening. And we also got Taiwana, who is at the lit review, proposal, and study for quals. Okay, so that's your goals for the next. That's a lot going on there. So for sure, are you, Taiwan? Are you writing all those right now, or are those different things that you want to accomplish over the next 2 to 3 months? Because again, I think this is a great time to really recalibrate. We've seen the graduations. For some of you all who felt like you should have been graduating this semester in the spring, you didn't. You might be feeling some type of way about it. Now is the time to really, take an opportunity to reflect and come up with your plan. So you got to be intentional with your goals. So first things first. And then once you have those goals, it's not only important to have goals. Okay, Tawana, you said goals. Okay, perfect. So you got your lit review, your proposal, and study for quals. That is a lot to do in a couple of months time frame, but I'm here for it. Particularly if your quals get you ready for the lit review and your proposal. But what I want you all to do now if you have your goals, what I want you to do is then to backwards map. So it's like, I know these are my goals. So Taiwan, I'm gonna take your example, right? You say you want to write your literature review, proposal, and study for quals. So what does that look like in action? So we took one of those, studying for quals. What does that look like? So is that you 5 days a week committing 30 minutes to studying? And what does that studying look like? Is it reading? Is it taking notes? really being specific about what this is supposed to look like so that when you try to implement it, you know exactly what you're going to implement. And this is something in our velocity group coaching program we help our clients really figure out first. It's like coming up with the plan of attack, and then from there all the pieces become very easy to achieve once you have a plan in place. Sometimes it gets so hard when you're just trying to go through this process and you don't have a plan. It's just like you're kind of shooting, just shooting your shot and just shooting blindly, whereas you just need to be more strategic with this. And so I had let's see, Vincent says my goal is to complete chapter 3 and chapter 1 by June 25th. Chapter 2 is completed. So Vincent, shout out to having chapter 2 completed. That is a big piece of the puzzle for a lot of folks who get stuck in the proposal. So I'm glad you got that done. And chapter 3 and chapter 1 by June 25th. So is that your goal? We know the end date is the 25th. So I'm going to assume if we just took this out in backwards map, because I'm going to show you how this looks in action, right? Let's imagine you said the 25th is your due date. Now I'm going to assume that I probably need 1 to 2 days to do some last minute editing. So really my due date for finishing all the writing needs to be somewhere between like June 22nd and 23rd. Because I want to give myself time to do a clean edit and look at the document, but then also check references, all those things. So I need 2 days for that. Now we're at June 22nd, 23rd-ish. So somewhere around there. Now it's like, all right, I got 2 chapters and roughly about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks or so, or 3 weeks. Now we gotta break it apart. So which chapter is easier or quicker to write? That would probably be my first thing when I think about my goals. So, chapter 1, I'm going to outline all the sections for the chapter, and I'm going to start assigning dates for those individual sections. And I'm going to do the same thing in chapter 3. In chapter 3. And you're lucky because chapter 1 and chapter 3, the sections for the most part are pretty much the same across studies. So for the most part, the sections you're going to have to address. And so that's going to be really important for you in your process. And then from there, I'll be like, all right, I got about 2.5, 3 weeks to finish both of these chapters. My approach will be which one can I finish first? And I'll start assigning the earlier due dates to that. So let's say chapter 1 was easier. My goal to finish chapter 1 might be to have it done by the 11th or 12th. And then from there, I would probably schedule out from the 12th to the 23rd-ish, I would then finish up chapter 3. And so that would be my goal. And I would leave the 23rd, 24th, and 25th to do a clean edit. Because I'm a firm believer when you're writing is to write it out and brain dump and then go back and edit. I see a lot of writers who suffer from perfectionism. This might be, folks in the audience. Whereas you want to control the process and control the writing, you want to be perfect, that every time you sit down to write, you go back and edit what you previously wrote. And that's like the wrong approach. You actually want to brain dump and get all this stuff out. Even if it's messy, it's on the paper, it's on your document, and you can edit from there. So that'd be my one strategy to help speed up the process, particularly when you have tight timelines like you have, Vincent. So again, it's just something to think about and how I would approach it. I know you may have a different strategy, but that's probably how I would think through that as well. And then Tawana says that she's taking notes, is going to meet with those who took exam already to know what to expect. And the literature review and proposal would be a plus. I have time, however. Okay. Yeah, I would just make my goals realistic, right? And I think that's really important as you all are thinking and going through this process. And anything that had delayed gratification, like the dissertation, is that you got to break it down into small steps that you can achieve. So if doing the lit review, proposal, and qualifying exams is you're trying to do all that at one time, I think that's too much. I probably would focus on the qualifying exams, because in most programs, you can't even get to the dissertation if you don't pass your, qualifying or comprehensive exam. So that would be my first goal, get through that mark and then turn my attention to the proposal. Again, these are some things that we really got to consider and think about as we're going through this process. So the step one, really take advantage of your semester break, is that you got to first write out your intentions and then backwards map to what they look like and put dates on them and hold yourself accountable to the dates. There's no need to have a date if you're not going to accomplish it and do it. And this is where, when I talk about in my book, 14 Secrets to a Done Dissertation, I talk about in the book that you need to be willing to have your accountability partner. So if you don't have your accountability partner, you're setting these lofty goals, it's going to be really difficult to do so. And again, I talk about this in a great deal in the book, because I think it's so important to have people, for you not only set goals for yourself, but then also for you to then have someone to hold you accountable and keep you in check to reach those goals. And Vince says on LinkedIn, says, no, your strategy's on point. If I had a strategy, okay, I got you. Sometimes that happens with us, right? It's all about just mapping it out. So take the time, today, tomorrow, because your timeline is pretty quick. It's to really map it out. put your dates, put the sections and assign due dates to them, and hold yourself accountable, and kind of get an idea. You know how fast or slow that you write. So it's a matter of, knowing how long it will take you to write certain sections, because some may take longer than others. And then just map it all out and then execute. And then I'm all about starting with the section that is the easiest to accomplish, because I like to win. So I want some satisfaction and gratification early up front, and it pushes me to write more when I get those wins early on. So again, Vincent, I hope that helps as you are thinking through your process. And shout out to, I think Tabitha is on as well. Shout out Carrie as well on Instagram. So first step. So I'm glad we're thinking about our goals, because I think that's most important, especially if you want to take advantage of this break. It's a great opportunity when things are slow, depending on what your program is structured. The next piece of what I want you to do if you want to take advantage of this break is that actually send an email to your chair explaining how you're going to take advantage of the break. So first, get your goals together, get your plan, and then send your chair an email about how you're going to implement in this plan. I think it's so important to keep your chair in the loop, because they know exactly what you're doing, and they can maybe point you in the right direction. Like, oh, don't worry about this right now. Focus on this. And they can give you some insight. But again, I think staying in contact, particularly during the summer, is important. And just recognize that not all faculty contracts are equal, right? And so even this for myself. So I'm on a 9-month contract. So technically I'm off contract right now. And so when that happens, technically, this is not always how it works for faculty, because it just is what it is of the job. We're not supposed to be doing any work during this time. So, if your faculty are off contract, just respect that they may not be as fast to respond. And again, I'm all about giving you the complete picture, so that you don't get frustrated and go into this thing wondering why folks aren't responding. You thinking it's something about you, when it's really not the case. It's just how this thing goes. But just know, this is why I say right now is a great time, because they just wrapped up the semester. They maybe check an email for the next week or so, and you can catch them and just give them an update about how things are going, and then ask them, how do you want to approach the summer? Some may say, fine, keep me updated with a monthly email. Some may say, don't reach out to me, reach back out to me till August, when I come back on contract. And just be respectful, because not everybody's contract is set up the same, and faculty have other competing demands as well that they're doing during the summer. And Tawana Wilson says, I'm a comm student, a writer, so it might be easier for me to write. Okay, that's perfect. I like when things are easier and you feel like you have that momentum, and this is something that you do already. So that's the thing. So go ahead and send that email to your chair, just giving them an update of what's going on, just so they know, how to help support you. If they want to reply, what's going on for the summer, and you can plan accordingly. And this next strategy, I think, is for my writers who struggle particularly with the literature review. Like, as of late, we've been getting a lot of questions from both our clients in the Velocity Group Coaching Program, as well as folks who just randomly DM me on all these platforms. It's like they have questions, so many questions about the literature review. And what I've come to realize is that a lot of folks struggle with the literature review, not because of the writing, but because of the reading. So it's really hard to craft a literature review if you don't have a full understanding of the literature in your area. And I know for a lot of folks, they're wondering, well, how much should I be reading? And I can't give you a specific answer on that. What I would suggest is that you want to be able to know the key thought leaders in your area, just like you know your family members, right? And I always make this comparison. You know the traits of your brothers and sisters or cousins, whoever. I want you to know the things about these researchers that you're reading. Once you get to that point, you start to identify and know what their work is, and know what they've done when, and how your study is going to contribute to it. You're ready to write the literature review. But if you're before that point, you're going to struggle, only because it's just really hard to do this thought work, and you haven't immersed yourself in the literature. So if you hear your professor say, immerse yourself in the literature, this is what they're meaning. They're not just meaning reading, but like taking in what you're reading and really starting to understand what are the key, arguments in your discipline. What are the key, researchers on your topic, or maybe topics adjacent to yours. You really got to have a comprehensive understanding of that work. And this is just the part of the process that no one can do but you. And so I want you to take the time to do it right, and do it well, because I want you all to get out of the dissertation process. And the lit review hangs up a lot of people. And so if this is you, if you've been worried about the lit review, let me know in the comments, just to see if I'm on, if this has been your experience as well. And then, so, from a lot of folks who are struggling with the lit review, that's a big piece, right? Do the reading, and then engage and do the writing. And then the next piece I find a lot of folks for, sometimes this happens, and happened to me in my own experience, I'll share with you in a minute, is that a lot of doc students, this is a great time if you're trying to take advantage of the break, is to work on your IRB materials. This may seem so simple. If you're at the proposal phase, you need to be working on your IRB, because before you know it, you're going to defend that proposal, and this process is going to start moving very quickly. And what I want you to do is, when you go to your proposal defense, all your IRB materials are completed. So as soon as you defend, let's say you defend it on a Monday, on Tuesday morning, you're submitting your documents off to IRB for approval. Because this process takes a while, and COVID has impacted a lot of timelines on IRB. Again, this depends by your university, but I have seen people impact it in the research process. So the faster you get this done, the quicker this process can go for you. And so now's the time, while you might be working on your proposal or waiting to defend, is to get those documents together so that you're not scrambling around after your defense, taking another extra week to work on these things when you could be working on them right now. And this is what I say in the book, 14 Secrets to a Done Dissertation. I talk about the conceptualize, write, submit method. And this is exactly what I mean. I want you all to always stay one step ahead of your dissertation chair. And to do that, you got to be forward thinking, and particularly with things like IRB. Like, get your application together so that you can be done quickly, so that, when it's time to defend, you're ready to move forward and you move quickly along the process. And again, if something's resonating with you, let me know. Share this on your timeline. Help us out to get this message out to more folks. Again, I do this work to really help doctoral students get through this process, because I want to see you all win. But again, now's the time to work on IRB materials. And then for my folks who are getting ready for maybe a final defense in the fall, or you just recently defended your dissertation, now's the time to work on those job applications. So particularly if you're trying to become a faculty member, now is the time to work on all those materials. So your CV needs to be tight and get that together. Your CV, your research statement, your teaching statement, your diversity, equity, inclusion statement. They got statements for everything nowadays on these faculty positions. So you want to have all these together. Think about your letters of recommendation. All those documents are going to be helpful, because when the faculty job market opens back up in the fall, late August, early September, these positions that you're really going to have your eye on are going to come quickly. And here's a secret about the faculty hiring process that most folks won't tell you, but it does happen, is that the higher you are up on the names of the folks that apply, the better shot that you have at getting through the paperwork at times. And this is because folks have been inundated with applications, and so it's not uncommon. I know when I was getting my first faculty position, I believe they had 150 applications. So you could imagine the time it takes to go through them. So this is why, if you plan now during the summer to get this writing done about your, CV, research statement, teaching statement, cover letter, get all those documents done, looked at, get an editor to look over them, so that when these opportunities come up in the fall, you can jump on them very quickly. It's just a matter of tweaking your cover letter for the position. Might take you a couple hours versus a couple of days to put everything together. And that can really make a difference in this process. So now is a great time to be taking advantage and getting all those documents together. So IRB for my folks who are at the proposal phase. And if you're preparing for a final defense, just recently defended, you want to go ahead and get those materials together, especially if you're applying for faculty positions. And for those of you all, I've been talking about 14 Secrets to a Done Dissertation. If you want to grab a copy of the book, you can visit www.thedonedissertation.com/book to grab your copy. But again, I think as I go back to this, I think it's really important to take advantage of this break and really get your materials together. It can really make a difference of you taking advantage of opportunities when they come up. This next piece of advice I think is important for you all to take advantage of the break. And this may seem counterintuitive, right? I'm all about spending time on your dissertation, planning things out. But what I want you all to consider doing as well is to actually schedule something, of joy for yourself. I don't know, whatever that is for you, I want you to schedule it and take the time for yourself to do it. So this could be, mine was like playing the piano because I'm a musician by training. Playing basketball was something I love to do while I was writing my dissertation. Playing golf. All these things are things that that I enjoy doing. So you got to figure out what that is for you. Get a massage, something, get your nails done, whatever it is that you really want to start thinking about and do, because it's going to be so important to your journey. I think we don't do enough of celebrating ourselves and taking time to really, take care of ourselves in this process. We do so much for other people. We do so much to get through this doctoral program, but oftentimes we leave ourselves last. And that definitely is impacting your experience. Shout out to Sawana. She says, wine tastings for me. I hear you on that. That's great. Now's the perfect time with the summer coming. That's perfect. It's wine tasting season. And Vincent on Instagram asked a great question. He says, what advice do you have for persons who who are not interested in pursuing faculty roles, including consulting, higher ed, management, other areas. What should we be doing during the summer downtime? That is a great question, and I love helping folks who are considering, careers outside of faculty. Um, so if you're looking at the consulting space, I think right now is a great time to get clear on who do you want to serve. So it's really important as a consultant to figure out who is your ideal client. So in higher education, if you want to, say consult in events, if you can tell me what you want to consult about, I could be more specific. So I'm gonna give you some general suggestions, and then if you tell me what you want to do or who you want to help, I can be more specific. But during the summer, this is a great time to be building connections with people. Folks' emails are dying down a little bit, so especially in higher ed because of the summer months, and so you have an opportunity to build connections with people. Now is a great time to think through who am I serving and how do I want to help them. And then depending on how you want to market yourself, use the online space. So if I'm Vincent, I'm going to go on LinkedIn and start talking about my services, and not just my services, but talking about the problems that my ideal client has. And so again, Vince, if you just type in the comments something that you are thinking it through, I can help be more specific. But yeah, this is a great time that you really can take advantage of this break. So yeah, you definitely should be sending emails out to folks depending on what who you're consulting and what you're trying to do. Also, this again the time to get your strategy together on how do you want to market and advertise yourself, because no one teaches that in doc programs. It just is what it is. So if you don't have that business mind and entrepreneurial thought process, you're gonna have to develop that or get some coaching and support to get that. And read lots of books. And if you shoot me a message, or I definitely recommend some books that I've read that have been helpful as I've thought through this process of how do you find your ideal client? What does that look like? How do you help serve them? Where are they online? Where are they offline? All those things are important. So you saw enrollment or student success is your current interest of supporting them. So, Vincent, those are two different areas, right? They're interconnected, but they're two different areas with two different problems. So my suggestion, just from looking at, you talk about enrollment or student success, I would say to start thinking about which one, because they have very different, thought processes and just what they're concerned with. Enrollment's concerned with enrollment. Student success is when students get there. So again, we're talking about recruitment, bringing people in, and then student success is keeping people there. And they have two different problems. Enrollment's about how do we get the best qualified applicants to not only apply, but then to enroll in our university. So what are we doing around, our branding, recruitment, those things. But then student success is in what do we need to do on this campus to provide students with the best experience here that they want to stay and that they finish and all those things. So the pain points you're going to talk about are going to be very different. So you really want to decide on who that is, because those are two different people. And then right now, if I were you taking advantage of the break, let's say you wanted to do enrollment, I would start figuring out where are my, VPs of enrollment management? What conferences do they go to? Then I would be taking the time, if I can during the summer, those might be fall or spring conferences of, the following year. I would start planning out, all right, I'm going to present at this conference. I'm going to take this summer to write out the proposal for the conference. And so those are things I would be doing to think ahead of your target audience. I would do the same thing for student success. So what type of conferences do those people go to? Is it through, our student affairs organizations? Is it through advising? All those things. You got to think about where they are and start presenting, because you want to show up. So people don't know the work that you do unless they hear about you. So, that's going to be important. Whoever gets the attention and gets the eyes wins on this. So you got to start thinking about that in depth with your area. So again, Vincent, I would just say, think through, is it enrollment or is it student success? And Dion says, yes, playing basketball and golf helps. Yeah. That is just important. You got to do something that really supports you. And thank you, Dr. Logan, for just, giving us a shout out, man. We do this to really help doc students get through this process. And Vince, you said, my background is recruiting dentist postdoc. Oh, that's specific. I like that. Now you can, you have that's a niche, and I'm all about niches. So if I were you, I would be focusing specifically on that. Recruiting dentist postdocs. What are the challenges? If I were you, I'd be doing, content online, maybe writing LinkedIn articles or post on your feed, doing small video content about what are the challenges that universities face when trying to recruit dentist postdocs or dental postdocs. What are the things that universities have to provide in order to get, postdocs on their campus? So those are the things that universities are looking for. And if you come up with a way, maybe you have a system or a strategy that you can package, now that's something that you can consult with in a very specific niche. So I think that is really great if that's your background. I'm always for using your background to your advantage. And that's why I do what I do with Done Dissertation. I help doctoral students write and defend a dissertation and then transition to faculty positions because I know that really, really well. It's my background of doing it and helping others do it. So I'm all about you leveraging your background skill set to then focus on an area for consulting. And you say, my dissertation is focused on increasing the diversity pipeline with Black men. No worries. So that's great. So you talk about bad typing. No worries. Okay, so then that's the thing. So it might be, how do you diversify your postdocs? Those are all the things that you want to start talking about, and talk about it to a point that when people think about, dental postdocs, they think about Vincent. They think about Dr. Battles, So that would be my suggestion. And Dr. Olga, thank you for connecting me with a colleague that's trying to finish their program. I appreciate that. So again, I hope these things have been helpful so far. So, we talked about getting your documents together. Again, Vincent talked about this, but others are talking about how do you build a consultancy. That is important. Now is a great time. Things are kind of dying down, particularly in higher ed. If you're looking higher ed, K-12, because the summer is a little bit slower than the academic year, this is a great time to reach out to folks. And thank you for everybody who's tuning in on Instagram, the Boss of Boundaries. Good to see you. And Marcus Langford, thank you for jumping on. And then, what I was talking about before is that this idea that, you should be scheduling time for yourself. That's important. And then the last thing I want you all to really consider and think through is that all I want you to do for the summer is really think about how can you commit 30 to 60 minutes to your dissertation. That's it. Literally, that's all you need to do to really finish this process quickly. You'll, of course, need more time at different points in this process, but if you're consistent with the 30 to 60 minutes, I promise you will finish quicker and your productivity will increase because you're not going to be spending so much time trying to remember what you wrote about, last week. So if you're my folks who are currently binge writing and you're waiting weeks between binge writing sessions, that never works, or it doesn't work all the time. Some people do it and have figured it out. I just know from supporting students that doesn't always work, particularly when you're a busy professional, because you have so many other competing interests in addition to work. You got family, all those things competing with your time. And I just find that 30 to 60 minutes will get you there quicker. And that 30 minutes could be, before you get up to go to work. For some folks, it might be in the evening. I know initially I was a morning person when I wrote my dissertation, but when I was writing articles for like publication, when I was a faculty member and I had my daughter, I used to write at night. It just became what it was. Even during the pandemic, when it first started, we were on lockdown. During the day, we were, daddy and mommy daycare at the house. And then we would do our work from like when my daughter went down to sleep about 7, 8 o'clock to about 11:30, midnight. That became my writing and getting work done time. So you kind of got to find what the balance is for you based on your life. And I know a lot of folks have a lot of different competing things going on. So you just got to figure out and carve that time in. Particularly if you have little kids who are like doing activities. Sometimes you got to bring that laptop to the activity. So if they're doing swim practice or they're doing baseball or softball, whatever, you might have to be on the field or in the car, typing up, doing your work. It just is what it is because you're just making a short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain. And this is a conversation that you just want to have with your family about this process. I just had this conversation with a new client that joined our program, and we talked about this. It's like having an explicit conversation about what you need to finish and just letting your family know, like, look, I just need this time, 6 months to a year to really carve in, dig in, and finish this out, and then I'm done. And then Tawana Wilson says, so 30 to 60 minutes for the dissertation in addition to study time, that's realistic. Yes. So if you're studying and doing something else, yes, that's its own separate time. But like if you're writing a dissertation, 30 to 60 minutes for that is helpful, and to do it daily. Of course, I would say 5 to 6 days a week is more than enough. Definitely give yourself at least a day off in between there because you'll burn out after a couple of weeks to a month of doing that straight. So I definitely think that 30, 60 minutes, in addition to everything else, is helpful and can make a real difference. And if you find that, you might spend too much time or those things, set a timer and time yourself for 30 minutes. I know some of folks like that Pomodoro method where it's like 25 minutes on of writing or whatever activity, then 5-minute break. that makes you happy, do that as well. I've used it sometimes, it works. I'm just all about whatever it is, just be consistent, because consistency will get you done. A lot of folks want to, think it's all about writing, but it's about your mindset. It's about being consistent, that you will put consistent action on this task to get it to the finish line. And so that's really the things I wanted to talk about with you all today, as we wrap up. But I want to open it up for Q&A. So any questions that you all have about your process, what you all are experiencing, I'd be happy to take any questions that you all might have. And for those of you who all have tuned in, I really appreciate it. If you haven't yet, I would love for you to grab a copy of 14 Secrets to a Done Dissertation. I wrote this book for you, the doctoral student, to navigate the dissertation process and get out in record time, because there's no sense of being in a doctoral program trying to get things done. And I found that if you're the best writer and you don't understand the process, you'll be frustrated and spend too much time in the program. And that's why I wrote this book, to help you navigate the process so you can get out of your program. So make sure, if you want your copy, go to www.thedonedissertation.com/book to grab your copy. And I'll open up for any questions that folks might have while I type this on Instagram. And thank you all for tuning in tonight. You all asked a lot of great questions and had a lot of great commentary. So I hope this has been helpful as you all are navigating the process. Any questions? All right, perfect. I see we got one. Vincent says, very informative. Thank you. So I'm glad you found some value out of this. Definitely share this on your timeline. Share this with a friend. Share this with someone who can get value out of this. Because again, we want to help support folks and get through this process. Thank you, Tawana Wilson. I appreciate you. Very helpful. So I'm glad you're thinking about this and get your plan together. I'm looking forward to hearing about your plan. So definitely let me know when you get your plan together. And so Vincent asked, it said, do you offer one-on-one coaching sessions? So our program is not necessarily structured in a one-on-one capacity. It is structured in a group coaching format, because I found that folks get through quicker when they have a community of scholars. So Vincent, if you're interested and want to learn more, I would invite you to visit our website to learn more about our program. And it is www.velocitydissertation.com. There you can learn all you need to learn about our program. And if you're interested to learning more about it and to seeing how you can participate, you'll be able to reach out to my team. We could definitely talk more. So definitely go to www.velocitydissertation.com to learn more about the Velocity Group Coaching Program. Other questions? And thank you, Carrie, for dropping in a comment on LinkedIn. I appreciate it. Any questions about where you are in the process, what you all are thinking through? I know there's a slight delay, so I'll let you all type for a second, and then we'll keep it open for about another minute or two, and then I'll jump off. And again, if there's any other topics that you want to learn more about and you have questions about, definitely let me know, because I love to incorporate that into the work that we do. We typically do these lives weekly. So just be on the lookout for next week's episode. We always try to switch it up and give you all different things to think about and consider as you're getting through this process. So we have a LinkedIn user. I just can't see the name. So if you want to type your name in, that's cool. It said, is now a great time to prepare, or too early for my proposal that's slated for December? So this is a great time right now. I don't know if you have classes left, but this is a great time right now to map out your proposal. And if you feel comfortable and you have like your topic approved and kind of know where you're going with your dissertation, why not write it and start putting the pieces together right now? So that, I don't know how your process works. I don't know if in the fall you're supposed to be writing your proposal, but if that's the thing, Kevin, thank you, Kevin, for that. If that's what how your program's structured and you're going to be writing your proposal in the fall, why not take advantage of this right now and just speed things up? I'm all about staying a step ahead of the process so that when you have to pivot, when things don't go according to plan, you're able to kind of move quickly because you already have something written. Now you're just editing and finessing versus like trying to come up with all the text and trying to get through the heavy lift of the writing part. But it's definitely not too early. I would especially say if you have a chair, because I think it's important to have a chair right at this point, and if they like your improve your topic, because I think that would be really important. Because there's no need to write a proposal, right? And they don't even like the topic, or your research questions are not aligned, or things like that they could catch. So if you have a good grasp of the literature and you feel good about it, I think you definitely can work on it. Particularly like your literature review. If your topic hasn't been improved, but you kind of know where you're going with this, now's the time to be collecting all your references. Start mapping out what your literature review would look like, to outline it, maybe start some writing of it. Especially if you don't have a chair and you don't have, things solidified with your topic. And Tawana says, I spent the last few days binging All American. I can do this. I think my wife watches that show, All American. I think I've seen a couple episodes of it. Right now, I'm trying to get back into the Ozarks. I just finished the first episode last night, so I got to finish that season because y'all be ruining it for me on social media. So I be having to scroll so fast, so I don't have to see any of the fine, what's happened on the episodes. So I'm all about binging a show or two in between the writing, because I think you gotta have balance. So definitely do your writing. Definitely have fun with it, and find you a new show or something that you can work on while you do it. But just don't let those shows consume you, because you could be down the black hole with these shows, and next you watch hours and hours of shows and don't have nothing written on your dissertation. And what I want you all to do is finish the dissertation so fast that you capture a year back in your program, because you finished so quickly, and you can go and binge watch everything for the next couple of years. And so that's my goal for you all, while saving money because you can spend it in tuition. So it's like a win-win-win when we get you finished faster. Any other questions, thoughts, or comments before we wrap up for today? Again, I just want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in. Again, we try to do these weekly to help support you all. And for those who you might tune in late, I'm Dr. Ramon Goings, founder of Done Dissertation, where we demystify the dissertation process so that doctoral students can write and defend their dissertation in 1 year or less. So if you need support to get through this process, I wrote a book, short, actionable, quick book called 14 Secrets to a Done Dissertation, a guide to navigating the dissertation process and finishing in record time. As you can see here, the book is very much straightforward to the point. You can finish in about 1 or 2 sittings, but I wrote it short because you all as doc students don't have a lot of time to be reading. You need to be reading stuff for your dissertation. But I wrote a short, actionable guide and book that will help you get through the process. So if you want your copy, you can grab it from www.thedonedissertation.com/book. And again, if you don't remember the link, shoot me a DM. I'll gladly send you the link for this. And as always, please share this out with 2 or 3, 4 friends that you think can get value out of this. And until next time, I look forward to catching with you all soon. If you need any help, definitely reach out, shoot me a DM. We'd love to be of support and get you to where you need to go in this process. And I look forward to seeing you all